Alright, and welcome back to episode 2 of our My Team career mode in Formula 1 2021. We are back here at Fleetwood Formula, heading into the second race of the season in Saudi Arabia. We're heading to the Jeddah race weekend, but first we have to head into practice, get ourselves some beautiful resource points. We're going to start off by just simulating our quick practice, because what we really need to do is maximize our resource points that we can get out of the weekend, because currently you see we're struggling to complete the challenges in practice ourselves, so we have to simulate, and we'll do the harder ones. Qualifying pace, that's a quick one. Race strategy takes 15 minutes per resource point development if you want to do it perfectly. As you can see, 14 minutes 20 there for the 100%, so we're not going to bother doing that one. We'll head to the track and do that one ourselves. We failed our last attempt there, and we'll head back and we'll try one more time. We'll skip through that actually, and we'll head to the track. So we're doing our race strategy. We're just going to speed up this lap here. We don't want to sit through all of this. We're looking quite shaky out of turn 1 and 2 every single time, and just seeing we're sliding everywhere, struggling to catch it. So our first sector, we are pushing the track limits too much, as you can see, trying to get the most pace out of the car, and we're just trying to get a feel for the car. At this point in the game as well, there's very little to go off for our setups, so we're trying different things. I think we tried top speed in this session here, but I'm not sure what we ran for qualifying. We'll have to check later in the episode. But you can see here we're setting purples, and we're currently almost going into the last turn. We'll be 7/10 up on our delta, and we're coming around the last turn. And what I found is that I had a pretty good entry to this, just my exit was a bit slow on the accelerator, but you see we gain 2/10 going in and then lose 2/10 coming out, so nothing changes, and we finish 7/10 above the delta. We are faster than Piastri on a slower compound tyre. Coming around again another time around the last turn. We love to hug in nice and tight. We hit the outside of that wall there, almost doing a Max Verstappen, and yet again we are 2-3 tenths up on the delta. This looks like one weekend where we could genuinely be on the pace. When we were looking at Bahrain, we were way off of it. Yes, it was the first couple races or laps I'd done on the new game, but I mean, this is looking promising for second worst car on the grid. We are 3 tenths, 4 tenths when we cross the line up on our delta again, and currently we're sitting P1, faster than Gasly on the mediums, and here we're going for, I believe it was a qualifying simulation, and well, all of our pace goes out the window when we run the softs, so we're 5 tenths down and losing on the straight, finishing near 6 tenths behind, so 22nd predicted. We go for another push lap on this same set of softs just after crossing the line, and you can see the tyre wear after 1.5 laps is already in the 20%, and it's sliding so much. We might have been overheating, and the tyres we've spun, and here's a replay of that. You can see we're really pushing the limits on these shitty tyres, and yeah, I think it might have been this nick on the wall there. It might have thrown off the momentum of the car a bit, but that's just enough to take us out, and we finish the practice sessions. We bring home around 750 resource points, while Oscar Piastri has brought nothing in. Time for qualifying. Alright, so we're going to have to put in a decent lap in this qualifying session, I believe, if we want to hit some points. Based on our first few runnings in the practice sessions, we were putting in some pretty great lap times. In time trials, I was feeling quite good on the equal performance car as well. And so I think the setup I was running here was I was going for the increased top speed, which is kind of what everyone was running at the start, but then I was adding an extra few clicks on the downforce. So here's our first flying lap in the qualifying session, and we'll see what kind of banker lap we can get in for the Jeddah weekend in qualifying 1. So heading down into turn 1, it's a pretty decent sort of flow. Getting the hang of the exit here a little bit more. You can see a few times still on colder tyres, of course, finding that a lot more difficult, but right now it's looking like a pretty decent first couple corners. Like pushing the limit nicely, not overextending, hugging nicely. We might run wide here a little bit. We would have got a warning there if we were on strict. We'll speed up the rest of this lap now. And as you can see, pretty flawless. Just keeping it nice and clean. And when we're coming through Sector 2, we are 1.3 tenths ahead of Lance Stroll in P18. We're pretty good in that last sector with the increased top speed and a brilliant run through the last turn here. We're going to come up to the line, DRS open, the shortest line possible, and we're currently sitting P20. I had high hopes for this lap, I won't lie to you. Let's go in for our final lap. It is about to be the end of the session, and we are already a tenth up through the first and second turns. Speeding up through this lap here, we watch, look at the delta in the top right. Absolutely flawless. That was much better through that section. We get a great exit now. Coming down into the banking left. Great exit also. We skip forward through here, you can see we're starting to get a little bit shaky. Temps are very high on the rear right. And it's not going to like too many more of those sorts of turns. We're slipping through there, and all the tyres are in the hundreds as we're coming around, speeding up down into the final turn one last time, 7 almost tenths up as we head onto the final straight. Don't do a Max Verstappen, keep it nice and straight, and look, we're gaining. DRS open, shortest run possible. This should be enough to get us out of qualifying 1 for the first time in our Formula 1 career. It's P10 for Q1. Brilliant. Fabulous result there. Look at us. Funnily enough, only half a tenth faster than our teammate down in P13, but that's great to see both the Fleetwood Formula cars through to qualifying 2. Coming now for our first banker lap, we are currently 1.5 tenths above, faster should I say, than Yuki Tsunoda in P12. Great little run through here. We're looking a little bit slippery on the rear end. We kind of make a few corrections there. Try not to overcorrect it. As you can see here, we just dive too deep and compromise our run out of here. DRS open on the back straight, not the main straight, but this is where we gain so much time. We've got a great top speed on this car. Final turn, we love it. It's going to be our saving grace coming into the race weekend. And look at that, flawless, brilliant exit as far as I'm concerned. This car isn't too kind on the rear end, so to see that we are only in P15, you know, oh well. But at the end of the day, coming into this weekend, had you told me P15, I would have been like, you know what, we'll take it. What we're going to do here is we're going to try and send for one final lap, right? And based on the lap times, it's 1.5 minutes to get around the track. So, I mean, that's on a flying lap, so let's say 1:40 driving and an extra 15 seconds to get out of the pits, maybe 20 seconds. You'd want to be leaving the pits around the 2:10 mark, and we leave at the 2:40 mark, hit the flying lap button, which turns out to be a mistake, because as you can see, we've only got 15 seconds from when we are able to drive to get to the finish line. With where it sets you back, you're not going to have time to make it. So as you can see, we're 5 seconds to go, coming through the final turn, straightening up, and 2 seconds, gone. We didn't get time to set a final lap coming through on our last efforts in qualifying 2. We don't set a time. We're P16. That's devastating performance. If you compare our Q1 performance to our Q2 lap time, that might have put us around P14, P13. Yeah, sure, it's not that much of an improvement, 2 spots, but every spot counts as we head in to the race. Gaining a fair bit of acclaim there with ourselves and the team. We want to be getting as close as we can to the next acclaim level, hopefully looking to get a new sponsor.
So here we are then, welcoming you today to one of the jewels of the Arab world, Jeddah, one of the biggest cities in Saudi Arabia, second only to Riyadh, gateway to Mecca, and one of the biggest ports in the region. And now, host to the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. So let's take a look at the topographical map of the Jeddah Street Circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Valtteri Bottas and Ocon, Magnussen, Norris, Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda. Verstappen, they've taken a grid penalty. Mick Schumacher, Guan Yu Zhou and Oscar Piastri. Russell, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Wood, Sebastian Vettel and Daniel Ricciardo. Stroll, Latifi, Albon and Carlos Sainz will start from the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Good. Love that. Alright. We're on the...
Now that we've got some good points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
My apologies, good sir, my apologies. Alright, so in terms of our strategy here, we noticed, obviously, in our qualifying, in our practice sessions, we were very quick on the race strategy on the mediums, and it seemed to be a great race tyre. That's why we were putting in our best performances. The soft tyre, I don't want to run with a heavy fuel car, so we're going to go medium soft, hopefully try and run it long. I can see safety cars happening here. We're heading into the formation lap as per usual. Look, I'm not sure what I want to do. I think I might do a few of the the broadcast safety laps, just see what kind of angles they give us. But what I noticed with that at the moment is that they've kind of messed up the temperatures, so we want to do these to get the best starting temps on our tyres, because temps are awful. Coming up to the starting grid, P16 it is, no changes around us, everyone essentially on the softs. Let's try and get a great start here. For some reason we're ghosting, Piastri's coming through us, and we drift up to the spot with 0.1 meters to go. That is the perfect start. Let's have a look at that. Absolutely magnificent. Alright, everyone seems to be taking so long here, so everyone just started getting disqualified, which is very confusing. I was like, okay, well, am I going to win the race? And after everyone's disqualified, we finally start the race. And it's lights out and away we go, but we get off to a really bad start, and what I notice is we are drifting all over the place, can't keep it in a straight line. And down in turn 1 and exit of turn 2, you can see it's much the same there. We're absolutely fighting the car. Look at our throttle inputs, it's not as smooth as we'd like. And coming up behind Gasly and Schumacher, they can't sort their shit out, so we end up getting squeezed by Schumacher. He almost turns in on us there, and he has to correct and pull out of the move as we head down now over the track limits. Gasly held up by Norris, held up by Tsunoda it is, and that's a pretty decent start. We've jumped, was it 5 places, and on the medium tyre, not great tyre to start, especially the first lap when you're exiting. Now, I do want to put a disclaimer out there. There has been some issues I've noticed. Oh, hang on. Virtual safety car's been deployed. What's happened here, guys? Let's have a look. So we go check the replay. Further behind us, what's happened is it looks like Mick Schumacher behind us has lost his rear end and gone straight into the wall. Rear wings flying everywhere. So Mick Schumacher is now in the box, and we're ending the virtual safety car now, behind Gasly, behind Norris, and we get a pretty poor exit in comparison. It's just difficult. The AI is so good in the straight, so they just pull away from us here, and we're on the recovery game now. Magnussen's starting to hold up Tsunoda from the cars in front, and once again we're hanging on to this train of faster cars, much faster cars, deploying our overtake as much as we can. But another issue is overtake is so powerful, but it drains so quickly, and because of the straight line speed of the AI cars, it's so difficult to keep up with them without deploying overtake. So rounding the final corner on the second lap of the Grand Prix, and look how quickly they're pulling away from us even with the overtake. they're still gaining. Now they're not. Now they are. Now they're not. The deltas are difficult, but DRS enabled, end of the second lap, and we want to choked up. We're going to try and stay with this train with our DRS open. Look, we have a pretty great run through turn 1-2, just keeping us on the back of Pierre Gasly. They're going quite slow through here. Maybe someone up ahead has an issue. It looks like if you're looking on the mini-map, the separation is beginning from an Alfa Romeo. And behind us now, Max Verstappen's making an error, trying to overtake us. He's getting too greedy, biting off more than he can chew. And he's holding up our team. Our teammate's trying to go around the outside. And he will, behind us, make a move. No, he's not. Verstappen fighting him out. He's going to give him a big squeeze. Okay, well, Piastri's dropped behind. Ricciardo's behind him now. Piastri's lost out majorly. We're going to speed up now. That sort of battle has diffused the situation behind us. And looks like Max Verstappen is going to line up a move on us now, heading into the final turn. And we just about give him the squeeze wide. Can't see much of it when I'm trying to check back. And all of a sudden, look, end of lap 4, 6% overtake, ERS deployed, gone, and we're still staying with the train in front, which is good. Hopefully we will get the better of them with our tyres. We let Max through because he's all over us, and fighting him's only going to make us slower. Hopefully we can hold on to the back of him. He's a much faster car. He must have had a mare in qualifying for him to be behind us, as he gets a beautiful overtake there on Gasly. And now it's just about, you know, reducing the damage, try not to get overtaken by the Alfa Romeo of Guan Yu Zhou, and just keep putting in some decent lap times. Don't push too hard on these tyres because we want to go pretty long, but just look at that, the overtake 6%, and there's a bit of bickering going up ahead. There's a 5 car, it looks 2 or 3 wide up ahead. They're all squabbling. 2 cars pull into the pits. That will be Magnussen, Bottas and Norris, and all of a sudden we are out of ERS, or DRS should I say, of Max Verstappen. And Tsunoda goes very deep into turn 1, must have had a lock-up or something, and now he gives Gasly the big squeeze. Verstappen's trying to follow through, and we get a little bit slippery heading out of turn 2. Verstappen, Gasly right ahead, Tsunoda in between the 3 of them. The Red Bull powertrains holding on strong in a nice big line. Verstappen goes very wide, and we almost make it contact with the Red Bull, and we just about avoid him, and that was too close to comfort. Too close for comfort. Look at this, unbelievably close there. That was magnificent maneuvering, and I think there is nothing but a cat's hair in between there. Don't know what that saying is, I heard my grandma say it once, but that is magnificent, and we just about keep it as Gasly and Tsunoda are up ahead, squabbling the AlphaTauris, a bit reminiscent of what happened in, was it Great Britain? Maybe, I think it was. I think it might have been. Anyhow, and we're in P6 for our stop. I think 3 cars have stopped, so we're provisional P9. And safety car's been deployed. The safety car has been deployed, but it's not the perfect timing for us. And look, we take a bit of a gamble. We're banking, and we'll see what happens first. And look, it looks like Max Verstappen behind us has gotten a bit shaky, and he has just run into the wall and lost his front wing. I think it's a bit of a, I mean, it's a justified safety car, but for Codemasters to give it, it's a bit of a surprise. There's no cars run over it. Everyone's just avoided it, and they've thrown the safety car out. But look, on the safety car now, all the soft runners are going to pit, and because of that, we're going to take a risk. It's a very silly risk because, well, if there's no more safety car, we probably won't have the time to make back those places. However, with the AI this year being very aggressive, and this being Jeddah, we take that risk. Leclerc has either already pitted and come out behind us. I believe that would be the case. He's got the fastest lap. So, safety cars coming in now. We lead the pack away, and we're going to try and make this as difficult for the rest of the grid as possible. We're not going to have great straight line speed. We want to delay the start as much as we can, and obviously you cannot overtake until the checkered flag. That's when racing officially resumes, and we're going to wait until much the last moment to send it away now. Hopefully we can get a better exit, just enough to get us into turn 1 and hold them up, because maybe there might be another safety car if there's a crash, and Leclerc tries one around the outside, and we have a massive moment, just enough to save it though and get a better exit than him somehow. He had the compromised inside run, and I think he might have the cold mediums. We did well enough to keep them reasonably warm under safety car and in a nice comfortable position. Hamilton overtakes Leclerc. Leclerc overtakes Hamilton once more, and with those two bickering behind, we might have an opportunity now to kind of extend the lead a little bit. And you know what, take back what I just said, deploy the ERS. Leclerc is attacking us, Hamilton behind Alonso, the two Alpines, P4, P5. That's going to be a great weekend for them. Second race of the season, they're already racking up major points, but we're pulling away now on the straight just enough into the braking zone, and that's Charles Leclerc tries to send one up the inside, and he's absolutely done himself in. He's out of the race. Have a look what happens here. That is unbelievable. That is reminiscent of the Nicholas Latifi in Bahrain last weekend. They just send one up your right rear tyre, and in Bahrain, it's even Bahrain's more forgiving, and he still got taken out of the race. So to try that here is ridiculously silly, and that's Charles Leclerc out of the race. He was on for a race win now, but now it looks like Lewis Hamilton coming around. Okay, we've held him. He's playing this rather smart, is the Brit. He's just sitting behind us. Look, it's not Jeff is telling us to come to the pits. Is Lewis Hamilton's going to try one around the outside, and he will make the move. I believe we shouldn't fight this. We'll just let him go through. Hopefully we can get a switch back here on Lewis Hamilton. He's braking nice and hard, giving us a difficult time to follow. And look at that exit, absolutely magnificent. Look, the Alpines are behind us. They're going to make a move anytime soon. And oh, we nicked the right wall there on our way through. That was a bit silly. And we'll accelerate here. Look, we're all over the place. These mediums, I mean, they've seen better days. Lap 9 out of 13, and it looks like if you see the minimap and the deltas in the top left-hand corner, our strategy might be coming to a little bit of a failure. Lewis Hamilton, within this lap, pulled away 1.6 seconds. Ocon not gaining on us. He must be fighting with his teammate. Either the rest of the grid is, I guess, on pace with us, and Lewis Hamilton just got incredible pace, which it seems is the case, because look, I mean, DRS is enabled now. We're about to get swallowed up by these Alpines. Look, lap 10 out of 13, and the gap behind, there's no gap behind us for us to fall into should we pit. We need to pit within the next 2.5 laps, or that will be our race completely disqualified. As we see the Alpines battling behind us, touching all the way through that corner. No one can decide who's going to go ahead. They're kind of on and off, but yet, who is that getting the better of the teammate? Sergio Perez behind on the hard compound tyre. He'll be running to the end. I think everyone else but me is running to the end from here. I think everyone on the grid pitted under safety car. Maybe not the Ferrari and the Haas right down the back. We're going to decide to pit, because if we want to get any benefit from these soft compound tyres, a chance to regain based on our pure pace, we're going to have to pit this lap. Look, I can't talk. Fernando Alonso gets up the inside now, and he goes super deep, and we get a brilliant switchback. He gives us the tight squeeze. We're up against the wall, he's up against our side pod, and all of a sudden there's the massive train behind us that you can see. There's no chance we're going to get any positions there, and within a matter of seconds, our brilliant P6 before the safety car has turned into, well, by the time we come out of the pits, essentially plumb last. So Piastri goes past us, Latifi goes past us, and look at them, they're going down, and that's a terrible stop. How's that? What's going on, mate? Like, we hit an optimal, and before you know it, we're in there for 5 seconds. Oh, slippery. Good. Thanks, buddy. Beautiful. Well, looks like someone's going to lose their job. That's the race engineer. We're going to have to pull off a Gunther Steiner and absolutely yell at the engineers or the mechanics for messing up our pit stop, much like Haas back in the day. Look, we've come out of the pits with extremely cold tyres, 2.5 laps to go from here, and we're essentially 8 or 9 seconds behind our teammate. Carlos Sainz up the behind of us, and we're just going to let him go through, maybe pick up some DRS as we just did, and another DRS. He will give us a bit of a tow, which will be quite useful. But look, this is just about we're fighting for keeps here. Like, we're not actually going to get anything out of this race points wise. This is more of a pride race. In June, funnily enough. No, it's July. Never mind. But we're gaining a lot to the drivers ahead. Piastri's in front of Sainz now. He's about to get swallowed up. And now it's just the two of us heading into the final lap. And we'll see if we can push for a personal best lap. I think we might have hit that in the last lap. And we see Piastri and Latifi and I believe still Carlos Sainz in front. And we're going to shape up a move here up the inside of Piastri just about. He was going too slow for my liking. And he's ruined our push lap for Pride, and that's pretty much going to be our race, unless we can pick up another spot on Latifi in the last lap. We've got great traction compared. No, we don't, actually. Maybe the softs, we saw it in practice. They fell off pretty quickly. Maybe we'll pull up. Hopefully we'll pull up. Lewis Hamilton wins the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix for 2022. That is an incredible turnaround for Mercedes. And we go into the final turn. Latifi's flashing. He's out of ERS. So are we. Around the long way. Around Latifi. And we're almost hitting the wall. Essentially scrubbing right up against it. And you can see that move one more time. We're flashing. He's flashing. And look. That's how you do it, Max Verstappen. We will finish the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in P17. That is a very disappointing result. There's no two ways about it. Call me Calix. There's no two ways about it. Poor performance, really. Look, at the end of the day, we had great pace. But we let ourselves down with a terrible strategy. Call me Ferrari. I'm out here with all the callings today. But congratulations to Lewis Hamilton and the Alpine of, is that Esteban Ocon? He's on the podium. Brilliant job, Lewis. Enjoy your night. Correction, I am an idiot. That is not Esteban Ocon, that is Fernando Alonso. For some reason I was expecting to see Fernando's old helmet, but no, we see the BWT sponsored one. My bad, boys.
It always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
Well, Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
Alright, so that does it for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Congratulations, a beautiful moment to hear that Lord God save the Queen back up on the podium. Lewis will have a great weekend. As for us, Fleetwood Formula, we have we've let ourselves down, truly. We were on for, let's be real, P7, P8 in this race, but that is 4 or 6 points, which we could really use. With George Russell was stuck behind Guan Yu Zhou, and we are probably at this point maybe able to compete with the McLarens and the Alfa Romeos. So realistically, we've dropped a lot of points here, and it's disappointing. Checking the standings, we are still all right. We've got a few points under our hat. But that does it for this race weekend. A lot to learn about the car and especially strategy going into this race. The next race, should I say, which will be Australia, our home Grand Prix. Race 3 of the season. 3 Aussies, an Aussie-made team with 2 Aussie drivers. We have a lot to prove. We have a lot to win. And I think our car is making it there. That does it. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching, guys.